Welcome to RetroBus. Matrox was the king of 2D image quality, but in '99 they released a card that promised to compete hard with the 3D big boys. Today we are looking at the Matrox G400. Today we're going to see if they succeeded. We'll be looking at its revolutionary bump mapping capabilities, run some Matrox tech demos, and classic game of its era. So was the Matrox G400 a masterpiece, or did it hide some serious flaws? Stick around and we're going to find out. So the Matrox G400 was released in 1999. It comes in 16 or 32 megabytes of SG RAM. The version I have today is the 32 megabyte. Comes with a 125 megahertz core with 166 megahertz memory connected on a 128-bit bus to that core. It also has a AGP 4x interface. All right, so here it is, the Matrox G400 with its famous dual head 2 output. So this wasn't the first card to do this, but it was one of the earliest consumer grade cards that sort of made dual monitor for the masses. So the card I have here is later revision. It's not the very first one that was released. So you can have a look right here. So we can see 906-4 Rev B. So the first one was 906-01. This is the better card to get because it does AGP 4 times. The previous one only did 2 times. So very similar to the G400 MAX, but the G400 MAX had a fan. I think this has very similar memory, so I'm going to give overclocking a go with this one. So I'm going to use the same test system that I use for the Matrox G200, so we can really have a comparison on the results. So this is a slot 1, Pentium 2, 400 megahertz. Love the slot 1. And we've got 256 megabytes of RAM. So let's get this awesome G400 in there. Okay, so here we are. It's all loaded up, and Matrox's legendary picture quality here to be seen. How awesome is this? Look at all the colors. This is a background that I actually made myself. I can put it up on my website if you guys want to download it and use it. I'll provide a link. So look at it. It looks great, doesn't it? It's just so sharp. That signal quality, unbelievable. I'm going to kick it off with the Matrox G400 tech demo. So this shows some interesting capabilities that only the G400 did. There we go. I love these tech demos. These were so hot. Back in the day, you know, when you got a new graphics card, you always ran the tech demo. NVIDIA, ATI had some great ones. And yeah, you know, even at LANs, you'd see people running these things and look at them. So this shows off an interesting feature that the G400 did, environmental mapped bump mapping. Unfortunately, it never took off. So the other big competitors, NVIDIA, ATI, never took it up. And unfortunately also, very few games also used it. But we will be looking at a game that does use the bump mapping, so we can have a look at the difference. The water looks great, reflections. This, you know, this is 1999. This is pretty cool. You can sort of see it a little bit in the stone, but you see it more so in probably the wood. But probably the best example is right here at the end, where it comes over to this stone and you can see this light going over. So this is just a flat surface, and it's the bump map that sort of looks like it's, you know, etched into the stone. Pretty cool. So to do this, you do need the specialized hardware that's inside the Matrox chip. So you can sort of see it in a little bit of the wood here too. You can see the grain in the wood. It's got that little bump. You can sort of looks like the texture, you know, is it got a bit more depth to it rather than just a flat object that's textured. Here we go with Moto Racer. I know this game's going to handle it with absolute ease. This game was released in 1997. Even the Matrox G200 breezed through this. So the 400, I think, is going to absolutely kill it. Oh wow, it feels incredibly responsive. As soon as I touch that turn key, yeah, this is fantastic. This feels great. No shock. This game is, yeah, it was released 2 years before this card, so you would expect it to run pretty good. It is locked at 60. It's not going to go below it at all. But you know, it's not just the frame rate. As I say, it's the responsiveness when I play it. It's when I press those keys, when I turn it, just it reacts instantly. You know, a game like this where timing is really important, you definitely want that. Yeah, Moto Racer handled very easily, no surprise. Look at this. Quake II, look at this frame rate. Picture quality, spot on. This looks fantastic. Oh, this feels it feels like I'm playing a modern game. These are the sort of frame rates that we expect in modern games, so very cool. Resolution isn't the highest, I guess, but yeah, this is so good. You know what, I think it's having too easy of a time. I might crank the resolution up just a bit. We'll get a little bit more sharpness, and you know what, we've got a lot of headroom here, but yeah, look at that, looks great. All right, let's have a look. Let's go 800 by 600. Just get that extra bit of sharpness. The frame rate has been impacted minimally. This looks awesome. Look at that. I love that light. Right, let's go outside. And, you know, the colors look awesome. Look at this. Renders it really nice. Textures all look great. Yeah, look at this. I'm still hitting triple figures in here. This is crazy. What is that? 135? I mean, I'm looking at a wall, but, you know, this is pretty insane. Let's go 1024. You know, how can you not? All right, there we go. 1024, 768. Look at this. Still 70. But how good does it look? So sharp. Yep, you just got way more pixels drawing those lines now. And it is just sharp as a razor. Very nice. Oh, this looks so good. It barely feels any different. The frame rate feels like it hasn't taken any hit. Playing any game, 1024, 768 with this sort of frame rate, yeah, you're happy. You're pretty happy. Performance, yeah, massive leap here from the G200. The G400 here is really just gone up to the next level. I mean, the RAM amount and everything is much higher, but this looks awesome. Great work. I mean, this game was released in 1997, 2 years before the card, so, you know, you'd expect it to be performing really well. Need for Speed 3, Hot Pursuit, released 1 year before this card, 1998. Let's have a look. Okay, so we can go 100 by 600. Let's do it. Let's go to the top. No, yep. Here we go. 60 FPS. Locked.
3, 2,
it's taking a bit of a dip. Okay. You know, this looks so good. You know what? Look, I can just see how sharp it is. Normally, I mean, on the previous card, I did it at 640 by 480, but that jump to 800 by 600, yep, instantly see just the sharpness, those lines, the polygons, everything. This looks great. Oh, runs fantastic. Yeah, frame rates are taking, you know, it's not locked at 60, but, you know, these are great frame rates. Yeah, this looks fantastic. I love this map, the autumn colors. It looks so good. Yeah, and, you know, it just feels so responsive as well. Again, like Moto Racer, racing games, you want them to be quick and responsive. You need to react quickly, and this game definitely is with this system and this video card, very much so. Yeah, this looks great. Oh, look at the reflections in the cars. It's just so over-exaggerated on this game. You know, the reflection maps. They love their reflection maps. I love showing a new feature off. Look at it. This car is like covered in glass. Yeah, this looks nice. Feels great. This is awesome. Oh, here we go. 60 now. Locked at 60. Yeah, around here it takes a little bit of a hit, but man, these frame rates are fantastic. I don't think it drops below. Does it go below 50? I'm not sure. Yep, you know, as expected, it does handle it with absolute ease. It was amazing what a year in hardware did back then. There we go. Whoa. All right, there we have it. All right, on to the next one. All right, we're going to try the two big boys from 98. One is Unreal, the other is Half-Life. So let's go some Unreal. Oop. All right, let's have a look at this castle fly-through. That reflection looks fantastic. Textures, colors, look at this. Okay, it's just locked up to 60. Cranked it up to 60. This looks pretty damn good. And, you know, again, Matrox, the colors are so... Yeah, the textures and the colors look awesome. Now, this is where, when you get the shot of the full castle, this is where it usually takes the biggest hit, because you've got all those objects and polygons to render. But it's looking pretty good. Look at that. Ah, that's so nice. All right, let's go into a quick game. So that is at 800 by 600 in 16-bit color. There we go. Good old Deck 16. Deck 16, 17, I'm not sure which one it is. Yeah. Oh, look at this. 60 FPS. Fantastic. Oh, it's doing some funny stuff with the textures here. Look at this. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Yeah, oh yeah, it's doing some funny business. Look at this. Yeah, it's doing some funny stuff with the textures. It's interesting that the fly-through didn't have any of this, but in the game, yeah, we're seeing some odd behavior. All right, let's go. Let's keep going. See if it's just the lighting area. No, it's, yeah. But yeah, it's interesting that, yeah, those textures are definitely flickering. Oh, okay. All right, first little hiccup. You know, I wonder if it is driver related. These were the latest or last drivers that I could find on the Matrox. Oh, I'm getting masky. These were the last drivers that I found on the Matrox site. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's really bad in here, isn't it? That's an interesting one. You know what? I'm going to try and change the resolution. Let's see if it's going to do it. Frame rate is pretty damn good, but not rendering correctly. Let's have a look if we change the resolution. I love this resolution. It's my favorite. It's just so sharp and on monitor. Yeah, it's still doing it. It's sharper. Frame rate's still pretty damn good. All right, there we go. Unreal. You know, it definitely did not do it in the intro. It's interesting that it's doing it in the gameplay. You know what I might try to do? I might try to quickly load another map. See if... I doubt it. I seriously doubt it's going to be map related. Now, 32-bit color usually came with a bit of a frame rate hit, but let's see how we go. Okay, oh god, that looks so much nicer. 32-bit color, wow. Yeah, it's not doing the flickering either. Yeah, okay. I have no idea. This is a really fascinating one. Alright. So here, I'm not sure if it was exactly the bit depth or if it was that particular map. Okay, so here we are. Half-Life, OpenGL 800 by 600. And it's looking pretty good. Pretty damn good frame rates. Let's get into some action. Okay. So Half-Life, like Unreal, was released in 1998, 1 year before this card. Textures are rendering correctly, so it's looking okay. It doesn't have the problem that it did with Unreal, which is good. Frame rates are pretty good. I mean, there was a lot of action with lots of models and NPCs running around, which always takes a hit on the frame rate, but otherwise, look at it, it's looking pretty good. Yeah, I think when I came into the new section, and when I was loading the new section, it took a bit of a frame rate hit, but once it sort of loads it into memory, it seems to be okay. It's not too bad. I mean, this is a big, wide open section. We've got that helicopter flying around, so a lot of things to render. Yeah, look, so not bad, you know. I was hoping a little bit better frame rate in this game, to be honest, but it's not too bad. All right, let's go to the next one. So the environmental mapped bump mapping that Matrox had in this card, so it was used by only 2 games that I know of. One was this, Expendable. The other one was, I think, Descent 3. So you know what? Let's get this game going and have a look what the difference is with the bump mapping on and off. So this game was released same year as this card, 1999. Let's see how it performs, and most importantly, let's have a look at bump mapping. This is such a fun game. Frame rate, pretty solid. Look at that. It seems to be just locked at 34. Okay, this is such a cool game. Really arcadey, lots of fun. I'd love to play this in, you know, co-op actually. That would be a lot of fun. I've never done it before. But the problem is obviously you need 2 different controllers. So you have one person on a mouse maybe and another person maybe on a joystick. If you can see where the character is, you can sort of see tread marks in the ground. So that's with the bump mapping on. Now I'll turn the bump mapping off and we'll have a look at the difference. Completely gone. So yeah, they really do add a cool extra bit of detail. Yeah, how cool does it look with the bump mapping on? It's just, yeah, really nice. You know, it really is effective. Just adds that extra bit of detail rather than just being, you know, a very flat surface. This is such a fun game. Especially when, you know, the first time you got to get used to the controls, especially using a mouse and keyboard. But it's really cool. Very arcadey. Yeah, I mean, look at this area. You can really see the bump mapping. Looks great. Tell you when you get some real serious firepower in this game, it is so cool. Look at missiles and all sorts of stuff flying. Look at the floor and the lighting. This is without bump maps. So I'm going to enable the bump map again and you can see the difference. So you can see as I move and I fire my gun, you can see the light. You know, it really brings out those little squares on the ground, the bump mapping. It's subtle, but it's, you know, it's effective. It looks really cool. You know, you'd much rather have it on than not. One of those games that you just fire up to test, all of a sudden you find yourself playing through the whole level and just enjoying it. So yeah, a lot of fun. It's 1999. You bought a new video card. What game are you going to play? You're going to play the game that everyone's playing, Quake 3 Arena. Okay, so let's have a look. We're running 1024 768. Alright, we'll start with a big open map first, and then we'll try a more closed one. Now this is a higher resolution, so it's pushing a bit. Unfortunately, this sort of frame rate does not cut it for this game yet. Oh. But also, it's just got, it feels like it's got a little bit of input lag, to be honest. So, you know, even the frame rate isn't too bad. Here we go. When we look at the whole map, you know, 22, 23 frames per second, struggling a bit. Let's put it down to 800 by 600 and see how we go. Yeah, no, not much. To be honest, it doesn't feel any different. Yeah. Alright, what's going on? We're crashed. Oh no. Oh, alright, that's not good. Let's restart and try again. What else can we do? Alright, let's try again. Yeah, that crash was not nice. Let's try again. A different map, or I'll try a bit more of a closed map rather than that big open one. Okay, so these frame rates are a bit more acceptable. This may be the system letting it down a bit more as well, because I still got slight... yeah, another crash. Yeah, I don't know if it's the video card or the system, to be honest, because I'm still getting input lag. Frame rate looked a bit better, but yeah. Alright, not good at all. Oh. I've just done the benchmarks and taken this out because I wanted to do a little bit of overclocking. So some of the reports that I'm reading is that you can get this up to G400 MAX speeds. Apparently, the major difference is that the G400 MAX has a fan. Now, this hasn't been getting too hot anyway, but just for the sake of it, let's put a fan on there. Now, I know I don't have a connector, but I do have a connector on my motherboard that's pretty close by, so I'm just going to use that instead. And you know what? For fun, how about an RGB fan? So I'll get that on there, and let's have a go. All right. Yeah, it's a little bit ghetto, but I think it'll do the trick. Let's have a look. Okay, so card's plugged in, utilizing a little fan connector on the motherboard. So let's see how we go. All right, let's power it up. Awesome, we are up and running with the fan on. So let's get some overclocking. So the standard for the G400 is 125 megahertz core, 166 megahertz for the memory. Now the G400 MAX is 150 megahertz clock and 200 megahertz memory. Now normally I'd advocate slowly step it up, but ain't nobody got time for that. Let's just go full to the G400 MAX speeds. See if we can do it. There we go. So this is the G400 MAX speeds. Let's see what happens. Let's run some 3D Mark 99. See what the difference is. Oh no! Look at this. Oh, I got an artifact already. Oh man. It's probably not the problem. The memory might be. I think the G400 MAX has slightly better memory. But yeah, it's not looking good, is it? Look at this. Oh, it's just artifacting more and more as we go along. It's not even going to run. Look at this. I'm just getting more and more of these dotted lines just appearing across the screen. 140 megahertz for the core. 186 for the memory. Let's have a look. Okay. Hopefully this should be stable. And let's give it a bit of benchmark. Let's see how much performance we get. Sad, unfortunately, I would have loved to have got this running at G400 MAX speeds, but don't think it's going to happen. So here we are with the two different clock speeds. The overclocked on the right, and we can see the performance is not that much better, to be honest, and I'm not sure why. It could be the system here is holding it back. It's just not scaling as much. But when we look at the final scores, you know, there's barely any difference. It's actually only a 1% improvement. So from 3,404 to 3,442. Yeah, not really worth the overclock. Looking at the difference between a G200 tested on this same system, you can see the G400 is 40% faster. So is the G400 the ultimate retro card? Well, for pure performance, probably not. But you know, for 99 atmosphere and retro tech, it is pretty damn cool. Its 2D image quality is exceptional, and I can really appreciate that crispness. And environmental bump mapping was truly ahead of its time. You know, it's a real shame that more games didn't take advantage of it. I think it looks fantastic. This card is exactly why I love revisiting hardware from this era. It tells a story of when all of these different manufacturers had a completely different vision of what PC graphics should look like. Did you own a Matrox G400, or were you Team NVIDIA and 3DFX that time? Tell me about it in the comments. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support my channel, links are in the description. Thank you for everybody that does. Really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching again. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.